A warm welcome and thank you all for participating in today's webinar, and we are looking forward for an engaging session. So I would like to ask few basic questions from Sir only. I think from particular questions, most of the things will get clear to our candidates who have joined for this particular session. So initially, I would like to ask Sir, कि at the perspective, from the perspective of academics and industrial thing, why is ESG is becoming essential for business? So what does it exactly mean?
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I like to thank eAsia Academy and of course IIT Roorkee for organizing this such an very important event on sustainability and ESG. And I'm sure that all of you are interested on sustainability and ESG. And nowadays we are hearing this word everywhere, like whether it is in the budget meeting, whether it is any delegations meeting, whether you are in a company, in a government sector, you are startup, you always hear about this word sustainability. Now basically what is this the sustainability means, what is the ESG means, why we need this, why there is a dedicated focus on all of a sudden on sustainability or ESG. So these things comes to our mind, and I will try to explain you, like, in a very simple language, what basically the sustainability and ESG thing. So basically sustainability in a very simple word means that is a way of living without disturbing the next generation's life. And the word ESG that stands for environmental, social, and governance. So E stands for environmental, A stands for social, and G stands for governance. So as sustainability is not something a very is something very different idea or very sophisticated idea. We are sustainable in all ways. So if you, whatever you do in your everyday work, you are contributing to a sustainable world. For example, when you leave your room, you switch off the light of the room, switch off the fan of the light. That is also, you are contribute to the reducing the electrical consumptions of the room. That means indirectly you are contributing to the reduction of the carbon dioxide emission in the environment, because you know that electricity comes by the burning of fossil fuels which emit carbon dioxide. So less electricity consumption means less burning, that means less emission of carbon dioxide. So you are contributing to the environmental part of the sustainability. So in every day from the morning to night, we do a lot of small action by which we can contribute to the sustainable development. Now, if you look at a broader sense for an organization, it is very important that it not only look only for the environmental development, but it also looks for the social justice, social development, and also a very transparent and equal governance. So now all over the world, different organizations, whether it is a private organizations or a public sector, they have come across this understanding that this sustainable development or sustainability is very, very important to become a developed nation. And that's why, like, the ESG, environmental, social, and governance performance of a particular organizations becomes a very integral part of the success of any organizations. Now, if you are any business organizations, now how you can report your environmental, social, and governance activity for your particular organization or your particular business. So you need certain types of framework. For example, I mean, if I say that I have a chalk in my hand. So, and if I ask that, what is the length of this chalk? Or if I say that I have rice with me, and if I say that how much rice, so I need a unit. either 1 kilo rice or 1 pound rice, 1 centimeter chalk or 1 meter chalk. So there is a unit is required. So, so that means there is a unit or framework is required to report or evaluate the any physically measurable quantity. Similarly, if you want to measure the environmental, social, and governance practice of a company or of a organizations, you need a structured framework which will be used to evaluate how responsibly and sustainably a company operates beyond just financial returns. And why it is becoming essential for business for multiple reasons. First of all, from an academic perspective, if you look at that, ESG is important because it aligns with the systematic sustainable challenge. For example, climate change, inequality, biodiversity loss, resource scarcity. If you look for the industry perspective, in the corporate world, ESG is becoming very, very important because it directly affects the investor decision. कोई भी company है that is run by the some kinds of VC or investor board. Global financial markets now screen all the companies for their ESG potential risk. And it is kind of becoming, although not compulsory, but kind of requirement, mandatory requirement for most of the companies to report their sustainability performance or ESG performance to get any types of big funding or any types of getting big financial support. All the major funds like BlackRock or Bank, they integrate the ESG criteria. And ESG linked assets under management are increasing globally. And also sustainability ratings affect market valuations and also access to the large capital. In addition to this, there is regulatory compliance. We know that the business also often faces new types of mandatory disclosures. For example, if you look at the European Union, you have this European Union CSRD. In India, we have SEBI BRSR in India. In US, we have the SEC's climate disclosure requirements. So compliance is no longer optional now. It is becoming a mandatory for most industries. And how you record your compliance? Through some kind of framework. And sustainability reporting and ESG reporting will provide that framework. And finally, operational risk and cost management and market competitiveness. These are also two important things why this sustainability reporting is becoming so much important for business purpose. Now, what do you understand by market competitiveness? Modern consumers prefer sustainable products. If you see that, like, nowadays there is a growing increase of green branding. If you are adding green branding to your products, that obviously increase your sales. And sustainability or ESG things also differentiate in crowded markets. That will differentiate your products than other products in this crowded market. And the supply chain. So it's not only the final product, but the whole supply chain must also meet the multiple layers of the ESG requirement. So if you wanted to disrupt the supply chain or if you wanted to make your supply chain locally, so then it is also important to weigh the operational risk, and ESG will protect the companies or firm from the supply chain disruptions and climate risk. So in one word, ESG is not merely an ethical or philanthropic concept. It's not that, okay, I am contributing to the environmental protections or reducing the pollution by planting some trees or by reducing carbon emission, but it is now tied to finance. It is now tied to risk, regulation, performance, and long-term value creations for any companies. It is becoming a kind of mandatory for most of the companies to be in the business in the good practice. That's why it is becoming a buzzword around the business nowadays. Okay. CV,
I think, yes, sir. I think from this particular initials, I think basics will get clear to the candidates, those who are having sort of queries, why they should go for ESG and sustainability. So, sir, in the continuation, I just need to ask, how ESG and sustainability reporting help students in their careers, the future careers?
Yeah, ESG, yes, that's a very good question. Like, ESG and sustainability, as I said, that is becoming very, very important things nowadays, not only for the companies, but for the whole learning sectors, for whole academic sectors. Learning ESG and sustainability reporting is becoming one of the most strategic skill sets for students after AI and big data, because it connects the business, finance, policy, technology, and social impact. So there are multiple reasons. For example, there is a rising global demand for the ESG skills. Now, companies worldwide, they are hiring people who are expert on the ESG related roles. For example, consultant, finance and investment, sustainability departments. In most of the companies now have a position called CSO, Chief Sustainability Officer. And there are various mid-level and low-level sustainability officer who reports to the CSO. Compliance and reporting sectors, supply chain, risk management, data analytics, climate carbon markets. These are some few examples. Both like any large companies, for example, MNCs, banks, all the consultancy, big consultancy companies, manufacturing sectors, energy sectors, and even startup. They also need people who understand ESG metrics and reporting framework. At the end of the day, how you can report your ESG metrics or ESG framework, that depends upon how good you can make your ESG reporting. Now,
Sir,
while making your report, yes.
I have a question कि ये सिर्फ बड़ी कंपनियों के लिए ही है कि मिड साइज कंपनी और बिजनेस के लिए भी ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी वर्क करता है?
No, now that's what I said, that sustainability is now not only for the MNC or big or banks or big companies, now even for a startup or for a small companies also, ESG metrics and reporting frameworks matters a lot. Because if a small companies, mid-sized companies or startup have a good sustainability score or good ESG reporting, it helps them to not only get a good investment, but it also helps them to get a lot of compliance and regulation clearance. Okay.
इसमें एक क्वेश्चन ये भी आ रहा था कि इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स को अगर देखते हैं सर हम, सो इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स, क्योंकि जिस तरह से हमारे फ्री ट्रेड डील्स हो रहे हैं और इंडिया इज आई मीन गोइंग टुवर्ड्स डेवलप्ड नेशन, इतना जरूरी हो रहा है सर, कंप्लायंसेस की आपने बात करी, कि हम यूरोपियन स्टैंडर्ड्स या ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड्स की बात करें, तो क्या ये एक प्रेशर पूरे वर्ल्ड की तरफ से है सर, जो आए दिन कॉम्प्लायंसेस और प्रैक्टिस की तरफ बढ़ता जाएगा? मतलब इज इट बिकमिंग टोटली एसेंशियल पार्ट ऑफ द बिजनेस?
Yeah. So this is a mandatory part, for business. As I said that, for I was just talking about the career goals, I still did not complete that, before I talked about your free trade agreement and how it is related to the business things. So see, all sustainability now, if you look at European unions, they have this CSR. We have this SEBI has all the SEBI accredited company. They have to report by this BRSR in India. So these companies and they train professionals. They need people who are who are expert in the ESG things. So high-paying career tracks, similar to financial reporting or auditing is required. And considering your questions, Punitji, about why, considering the rapidly changing geopolitical situations and the free trade agreements between the Europe and India, so sustainability and ESG is now become a global language. Okay, so it is about the profitability with responsibility, balancing people, planet, and profit over the long term. So as you have seen that, the Honorable Prime Minister and other people have mentioned that this deal is about a $2 billion business. So, ESG ratings will affect valuations and capital access. There will be a lot of green bonds will come, and sustainability linked loans, they will be growing over the few years. Pension funds and sovereign funds demands, they will also need sustainable assets. And at the same time, for various companies, shareholder activisms will be rising. Without ESG, the capital become expensive or inaccessible. And if you look about the operational efficiencies, whether it is an energy efficiency, waste reduction efficiency, or renewable efficiency, or it is a circular model, input efficiency, it will all significantly reduce by invoking the sustainability and ESG reporting. So it is not just ethical, it is now an economically rational for this rapidly changing global market if we wanted to become a developed nations. And as far as the career concern is there, younger workforce segments, we call it like generation G and millennials, they want to work for purpose driven companies. Now it's not that everybody, people are now very selective while working in a company. Now obviously a skill in sustainability reporting and ESG, that will improve their recruitment attractiveness. So if you have a sustainability reporting and ESG skills, so your probability of retention in this rapidly changing job market in a very good companies will be very high. And your motivations and productivity at the same time will increase very, very rapidly, which will ultimately lead to a good corporate culture. So now for this job market, this new job market, human culture is now the competitive differentiators. Everybody, you have seen that last 1 or 2 years or 3 years, I will say that there's a rapid surge of AI and ML techniques, because now most of the business, whether it is a service sector, manufacturing sector, banking sector, or health sector, whatever sector you think about this, or education sector, everywhere previously people used to think that AI and ML is only for the education sector and only for the IT sector. But now over the time, people have seen that there is not a single sector where the AI and ML has not touched its feet. And you need to know it for every and each sector for your existence, not for a luxury. Similarly, sustainability and reporting and sustainability score is becoming an existential questions. I mean,
Sir,
you
I
need
have a question
both.
regarding this.
Yeah.
Sir, does the syllabus cover ESG reporting standard and the frameworks used by the business?
Can you please repeat your question?
Yes.
Oh, and your name, please.
Jyoti this side, sir. Does the syllabus
Okay.
cover ESG reporting standard and the frameworks used by business?
Oh yeah, I mean, see, if you that the syllabus which IIT Roorkee has developed, and we are very proud that we have been delivering the sustainability reporting, training in India over last 1 year. We successfully trained 3 batches with a huge numbers, and mostly the people from the corporate sector and startup who comes from the mid career level, high career level, and also beginning level, and spanning around all the sectors. So the syllabus is not only cover the standards or sustainability reporting, which is focused only for the Indian markets, for example, BRSR, but it will contain all the international reporting disclosures also. For example, there will be a big emphasis will be given on the GRI standard modules. Like for example, GRI, that GRI has the different types of disclosures and material topics and topic specific standards. So this is the only course where this general disclosure, material topics, topic specific standards, that will be given in a very, very practical way. And a case study, every time a case study will be given, which will be sector specific. For example, for any problem related to a banking sector or steel sector or core industry or agricultural sector. So a particular specific problem will be given, and then the material topics needs to be identified, how the general disclosure has to be identified, that will be taught. And all the other reporting frameworks, for example, SASB, TCFD, SDGs, everything will be gone in details and in a very practical oriented things. Implementing all these standards, That is very, very important. So how you can manage your data, which data should be reported, which data should not be reported, and how you can report the impacts, how you can understand, for example, if you think about GRI, which is now becoming very, very popular everywhere, and details explorations of the GRI 200, 300, 400 series case studies and applications in your particular company where you are working. So that will be taught in all the details. So the objective of the course, if you look out the syllabus, so that at the end of the course, one should be, and which we have seen also from the last 1 year, we have trained more than 300 people from the industry. So people are capable. We are surprised when people visit us, they are capable of making a standard sustainability report either using GRI or BRSR or any other framework, just like a big four consultancy firm, any CSO officers. So this course is a kind of multivalent, which is not only puts things on the theory. Probably there will be a 40 to 45% theory, but the major stress will be given on on the practical part, where how you can implement this knowledge in your specific sector. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
sir.
you so much, sir.
Yeah. So, in our first section, sir, as you mentioned that now ESG and sustainability is becoming day by day important for all the business sectors. So
Right.
now we have moved towards our course, which is offered by
Right.
IIT Roorkee. So we have a few counselors and candidates who want to ask some questions. So
Yes.
Keshav, your question, please.
Yes, please ask.
Yes, sir. Does the course include tools or software use of ESG and sustainability reporting?
Can you please call a little bit slowly? Is the what is? Can you repeat it, please?
Does the course, yes, sir, sure. Does the course includes tools and software use of ESG and sustainability reporting?
Yes, yes, yes. This course will, good question. There will be an additional case study also where there will be a program tools. For example, sustainability data management softwares. Learn to use for example, advanced software tool for gathering, managing, analyzing sustainability data, ensuring your accuracy and consistency in reporting. Many times you have heard about greenwashing, right? How to avoid greenwashing. That will be, greenwashing means factful misrepresentations of the data. So how to avoid that? And materiality assessments tools, like for example, utilize specialized tools to conduct materiality assessments, that will be taught. And stakeholders engagement platforms, exploring digital platforms to effective stakeholder engagement, how to allow better communications and integrations of the feedback into the sustainability report. These tools things will also be adopted in this course. And one more important thing is that this course has been designed in such a way that it does not need any prior experience of the data processing or AI software knowledge before. So whatever will be required, that will be it will be covered, because since we understand, and which we have seen for the, even in the last batch, there were more than 100 people were there, and I think these 100 people came from so many different industries, starting from agriculture to startup to banking sector to coal to steel to everything. And I understand that they are training, they are undergraduate training, or they are BSc, MSc training, or whatever, varies so differently. So keeping that in mind, so we did not put any common things, but we have made any basic type of mathematical understanding, any basic types of software knowledge, if you know to handle how to Excel or something, that will be enough. And other reporting skills will be will be taught. For example, if there any AI tools has been used there, so the basic introduction of how to use the AI tools and all these things has been also been taught in these things. Yeah.
So Ipsita actually raised hand. Ipsita, your question, please. Actually, all of you can, ask the questions. So it's very difficult to, read from a chat box. So one by one, we can ask the questions. Ipsita? Yeah.
So actually, I'm planning, so maybe there would be some disturbance. That's why I put a question on my
Actually, yeah. So we can't hear your voice. So, sir, I am reading the question. How ESG reporting could be aligned with AI skills? In other words, how AI and what AI tool would help to create the ESG reporting framework? And do we require any basic knowledge of finance and investment before indulging in ESG reporting?
Yeah, I already answered some of these questions. So as I said that there is the course has been developed in such a way that there is no prior knowledge of a very sophisticated mathematics or AI is required. It will be open to all of the people where for example for I mean although it is for data analysis, the application of the data the AI will be mainly through data screening and data collections. And there are certain softwares, for example, Emergent AI is there, Web AI is there, Sustain GRI is there, Green FI is there. So most of the software, which will be taught, I mean, so you will be able to use this taught without any prior knowledge of the data science, data structure, or arithmetic or mathematics. So if you know how to use your webs, if you know how to use the Google, and if you know how to use the Excel, then this would be enough. Things like natural language processing, optical character recognitions, these things we understand it will be difficult. We never attend this thing. And I will tell you, in most of this big business, this has not been taken because employees they comes from different backgrounds. And the second part of your questions was let me see whether do we require any basic knowledge of finance and investment. No, we don't need any basic knowledge of finance and investment for ESG reporting, because ESG is not only for the finance and investment. Very basic thing we need to understand this is first, that ESG is available even for your education sector also. ESG means environmental, social and governance responsibility. It is not only related to the finance and investment. A good ESG reporting helps to get a good investment. It is linked to finance, but finance is only one part of the ESG reporting, but not finance and investment and ESG reporting are equivalent. Okay, Ipsita?
Sir, Saurabh Agrawal. Saurabh Agrawal want to ask question.
Yeah.
Saurabh ji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, I have the same question. Like, do we need a finance background?
No, yeah, I just answered. Saurabh, I have just answered the same questions to you. We don't need any prior skill of data analysis or financial background, because even I have students in the class, participants in the class, who comes from the purely arts background, like history background also, history, geography, political science, these types of background, and they have done exceptionally well, in this course. So it's not any finance or data analysis things is required.
So
I have one question.
I have background in economics. So can I link my previous studies with the ESG course?
Can you repeat, Saurabh ji, once more?
I was asking, like, I have an economics background, bachelor's and master's. So can I link all the previous subjects with the ESG reporting?
Yes. You are MSc in economics.
MA in economics.
MA economics. Okay. Yeah. So then I mean, of course, some part of the course will be very much helpful for you to understand the part of it. I mean, see, ESG is a tool, sustainability reporting is a tool. Now you have to use it either for your economics case, or if you wanted to use it for your science case, or if you want to use it for your commerce case, that is up to you how you are going to use it. ESG is a tool. For example, AI is a tool, right? AI is not related to any particular topic.
So Vinodini ji, you can ask the question.
Yes.
Sir, I am pursuing my final year MSc Environmental Science degree, sir. Whether it will be useful to pursue now?
Yes. It will
course?
be very useful. Yeah, we have a lot of people from environmental science background in this course earlier batches. Yeah, this will be very good because, see, I mean, as an environmental scientist, you finally want to go for working in the international associations or the nationals, associations who are working on the climate change and pollutions and all these things, right? Apart from some pure academic endeavors, like faculty or science. So in all these sectors, international national sectors, now a prior knowledge of sustainability, which is closely related to the environmental sustainability. So that is a must. So it will be very much helpful, like, for people like you.
Okay, sir. Thank
Saurabh, you have another question? I can see
No,
your
sir.
hand. Okay, so I have a
No.
very important question here. As we are saying, our course name is ESG and Sustainability Reporting. So this reporting, because I come across number of professionals who actually want to learn reporting, and here I can see, I think we are covering almost not only Indian BRSR reporting. So if you can give some, guidance on this, what exactly reporting means, what we are covering, and how our professional who are doing this course becoming more powerful after completing this course.
I think I already this question, but I will again answer you these questions. But this times I will tell you a brief thing overview about what we are going to cover in this course. So this course will start with a very basic definitions and importance of the sustainability, and it will take this understanding that you don't know anything about the ESG and sustainability. So the bottom line is that environmental, social, and economic dimensions, sustainability in the business context, and risk and opportunities. This would be like, make sure that you understand the basic concept of the sustainability definitions. And then the next thing which we are going to talk about is the sustainability challenges. For example, climate challenges, resource depletions, biodiversity challenges, social challenges, for example, inequality, labor rights, like, what is the men to women labor ratio in a particular organizations? What is the salary ratio of a men to women? Like, what is the working hours? How many holidays are there? This all comes under the social, social sustainability, human rights, economic challenges, and then sustainable growth and resource efficiency. So these things has to be taught first to make your base. Then we will gradually enter to the ESG module. There, where we will talk about some basic concept about sustainability, concept about ESG, what is ESG, what is SDG, all these things means, what are the opportunities, what are the risk mitigation modules, what are the existing regulatory frameworks in the social sectors, what are the important regulatory frameworks in the government sector, what are the important regulatory frameworks in the environmental sectors, that we need to know. Then we will talk about, like, GRI standards module. Okay, there we'll see that what GRI means, how does GRI came, what is the GRI structure, and then we'll talk about the three basic things about GRI in details, about foundation, general disclosures, and material topics. One need to learn these three things to make a good GRI reporting. So these three things will be taught in details, and it will be related to the case studies, how to identify the foundation, general disclosures, and material topics. And then, like, so each and everything, for example, materiality assessment, understanding the materiality assessment, reporting, the reporting step by step process of making a good report, sustainability topics based on stakeholder relevance module, stakeholder engagement. So these things will be taught. And then once, like, it has been made sure that you understand, like, in a very deeply, like, GRI, a significant amount of time will be devoted for training on the GRI. So, and after that, like, we'll teach about the other reporting framework, for example, like, BRSR, and then SASB, TCFD, SDGs, like, which we need to exist in your companies. Like, most of the company use either BRSR or GRI. Okay. Then, so then we'll go for how you can communicate your sustainability report, how to make a structured report, what are the pitfalls in the report, how to avoid greenwashing, like, how to minimize the misrepresentation of the data, how to do a good communications in the sustainability efforts, how to enhance your business strategy, like, how to increase your investors' involvement. And then finally, we'll go for the emerging trends in sustainability reporting, like, internal, external techniques for effective stakeholder engagements. Then trends, what is the future trends? What is the climate-related change? What is circular economy? What is the future of the GRI standards and sustainability? So these are all the things will be taught by this thing. So the in a one not words, like, this will be covering starting from the basics, very basics of sustainability, yeah, ESG, GRI, to very kind of very advanced level, to the extent that one can make a sustainability reporting on any industry by their own. Okay.
Yeah, sir. This is the open forum. Any candidate who want to ask any question, they can raise the hands. And also, sir, we have 2-day immersion program in this program. So Tanvi,
Yeah.
architect Tanvi, yeah, please go ahead. You need to unmute. Yeah. Tanvi, we can't hear you. Meanwhile, Shambir, you can ask the question.
Yeah. So my question is not related to ESG sustainability. It is somewhat related to the carbon credit program, which is almost a buzz in the agriculture field, especially the carbon decarbonization in the field of agriculture and generating carbon credit for that, and then redeeming those carbon credits. So there are many companies working in this field, and means we keep listening and reading that that particular company has earned these many points for the farmer. Recently, there is a news that Grow Indigo has approved around 50,000 carbon credit for the Haryana and Punjab farmer. Then some other company, then some other company. But really, we have not seen actually any farmer or any group has is there any farmer or any group has actually received this payment against carbon credit? And is what is the actually this all about? Is there is some rumor also that this is not a regulated market, and there's a lot of malpractices as well. So some confusion is also around this carbon credit market from this Vera or Gold Strand. So I would like to ask the Dr. Saab ki what the reality is and how the future is, because the concept is good if the farmer run these schemes, but somehow some mechanism is not being seen that holistic or that robust. Some sort of confusion is there. This is my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, thank you, Shambirji. And I also want to add, sir, Shambirji also shown interest to take admission in our carbon credit course. So, yeah, so this is a curiosity they want to ask, sir.
Yeah, so it's a good concern. Like, I mean, that's what I think. I hope that you have already attended the previous webinar on carbon credits, right? I mean, where I tried to answer this in details, like, about all this thing. And so this carbon credits, like, as I said, that carbon in the previous webinar also, that the carbon credit is basically a system or of rewarding or punishing the good work of, if somebody is contributing to the reductions of the environmental carbon dioxide emission. And how you quantify it, like that, if somebody can reduce 1 ton of carbon dioxide reductions directly or indirectly by doing some way, then you can credit them by giving 1 carbon credit. Now we have integrated this activity with finance. So it now becomes a trading unit. So by integrating if you ask somebody, like, don't deforest these things. Don't burn the last part of your, like, crops or agriculture. And put more plants. So some people will hear, but most people will not listen. Like, unless until if it is very important for their own interest or their economically interest to them. But if you can integrate this activity with some financial gain, then people will be more interested. So that was the major objectives of invoking the carbon credit systems, putting the, like, work related to the carbon reductions as a financial point. Okay. So now there are a lot of platforms in India. This has came recently new. There are still yet there are one or two companies which are doing really good work on carbon credit things, but still the market is emerging. Now, whenever a market emerge, whenever something new comes, then obviously there can be a lot of malpractices can happen. And there is no questions here, about getting some hard cash by selling carbon credits. But the whole objective of this thing is that, we are all contributing to the decarbonizations. We are all contributing to the, something like achieving net zero by 2070. So the sector like agriculture, which is called hard to abate sector, it's very difficult to achieve getting carbon credits. So if somebody can get a carbon credits by these things, so then they can they can be rewarded by some things. But it is, you have to also understand the same thing, that this is not a banking system that I am selling one carbon credits and I am getting 100 rupees. It's not like that. So if you look at how the money system has been developed in the history of the world. So money, I mean, previously we have now the cash, but previously there was no money. It was like a trading systems. You give something, I give you 4 potatoes, and in return of that, you give me 4 brinjals. So this is the trading systems that existed in the society earlier. So that has been later on changed with this money systems. So carbon trading process is a trading systems. So just to encourage the people to work towards the deforestations and climate protections. So still not a hard cash thing has been integrated this thing. Now government is trying to meet a regulations in United States. There are very strict compliance and regulations on the carbon credits. They have already invoked this. In India, the government, with the help of some research institutions and voluntary organizations, they are trying to make some compliance and regulations on these things. And very soon there will be some kind of carbon credit accreditations body will be coming under the government of India. So then things will be nationalized, and then all the companies of the organizations, they has to get a certification from them. So, but still, there are Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS. Good thing is that, or the positive thing is that there are this BSS and BIS or the government of India, they are doing a lot of work right now towards making a policy and the compliance for this carbon credit. And once this is in the place, so then this kind of irregularities or this kind of malpractice, whichever you are talking about, that can be avoided in a better. But at the same time, it is very, very important that there should be awareness and knowledge about the carbon credit. If there is the first thing to avoid the malpractice about anything is that creating awareness. If I don't, just like you are asking this question, if somebody don't know about anything, so then it is very easy to do the malpractice. If you know that it is not about hard cash, it is a trading systems, then obviously if somebody says that, okay, I'm giving you 500 rupees, and you do this work for me, I will not do that, because I understand what is the carbon trading means. So that's why there is a less awareness about this environmental protection, sustainability, carbon creating, all these things is there. This is still within 5 to 10% of the populations of the country, with mostly 80 to 90% of the people are not aware about this thing. What is all this thing we are talking about? So through this kind of activities by the research institutions, academic institutions, voluntary organizations, as more and more people will be educated and trained, it will be good for our country. That's all I can say now.
So Tanvi, your question?
Hello, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir. I'm architect Tanvi Ganorkar from Pune. So I've done my master's in architecture in environmental architecture itself. So I have given that IGBC exam, and I was looking into transferring my career from an academician to ESG consultant, specifically in construction industry. So how is the scope for my present knowledge into that firm, like any field?
Absolutely. Absolutely, you have a very big scope, like, as a consultant, green consultant or sustainable consultant in this business. And I'll tell you, like, and maybe if you separately, like, contact me, I'll get you in touch with some of the people who have taken these courses, like, they are also have the similar profile like you, who have, like, done the sustain, like, who are the architect and right now working in the sustainability firms, like, as a chief sustainability officers and a green, and also some of them are now in a
Okay.
green sustainability business. Yes, this is
Mm-hmm.
very much valid. Yeah. In my
Okay.
last few, like, groups, there are a lot of significant amount of students comes from these types of background.
From architectural background.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I was just thinking that this shouldn't happen that I take up some new course and it is just pulling me back to something which I already know. So that
No,
shouldn't
no.
happen that way.
Yeah, I mean, actually, for architecture, this is, I will say that this is very valid, this course, because if you
Okay.
wanted to do, like, green building and all these things, you need to understand what is sustainability reporting and ESG. This is not like,
Mm-hmm.
very soon it will be a kind of mandatory things for all the most of the, like, building industry and architecture industry.
Also, I heard your overall review of the syllabus that you have given. So we'll be covering the sustainability reporting. Will we be also covering GHG accounting into that scope 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll be taught how to conduct that and how, like, what boundaries are to be considered, what are not to be considered. We'll be taught everything in
Right.
detail.
Right.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
So there's a one question. Saurabh Agarwal, इन्होंने लिखा है, sir, is this course more inclined towards ESG analysis or ESG reporting? Do ESG reporters work under ESG analyst? So I think the comparison between ESG analyst and reporting. So I think you can guide more better.
So this is more about ESG. I will say that ESG reporting. Okay. So ESG reporting and ESG analyst, like, there is a very fine difference between them.
Correct.
Okay. So ESG reporting is a process by which companies measure, track, and disclose their performance on environmental, social, and governance. Right. And the goal is the investor, as I said, that investors and financial institutions, and regulation and governance, customers, and all these things. And reporting frameworks mean GRI, like, then your BRSR, all these things, SDGs alignment, all these things. Now, who is an ESG analyst? An ESG analyst is a professional who evaluates and interprets the ESG data to understand a company's sustainability risk, opportunities, and performance. So that means you also have to do a ESG, collect the ESG data. You have to do the analyze the performance, identify ESG risk, evaluate materiality. So first, now the thing is that the primary focus of the ESG reporting is the disclosure and transparency. But for the primary focus of an ESG analyst is the analysis and interpretations. In this course, like, if you now, but the matter of the fact of the matter is that if you wanted to make a good transparent report, then you also need to interpret and analyze the report. So a good ESG reporter should be a good ESG analyst. At the same time, like, if you wanted to be a good ESG analyst, so you also need to understand the different disclosure. Otherwise, how you analyze the data? So for main, like, as an ESG reporter, you have your main output will be a sustainability report. But as an ESG analyst, your major output will be, like, to risk analysis, opportunity analysis, right? These are the things. I mean, for a company, like, an ESG reporter holds the position like compliance and communications. ESG analyst will be, like, they will be in strategy and investment decisions. But both are complementary. One produce structured data, the other turns into strategic decisions. So you need to know, if you are a reporter, in principle, you are an ESG analyst. And if you are an ESG analyst, in principle, reporter. So in this course, we will be, I mean, the basic foundation understanding about making a good ESG report and how to analyze this data to take a informed decisions, that has to be taught. So 90% I would say that this course will talk about the ESG reporting things, but the one little thing about now how I can take this data, like, to make a decision for my investment, that is more towards a financial, like, that's a more towards investment banking things. But as an ESG analyst, you must be knowing a ESG reporting things. That is by default. In addition to that, you also have to have some knowledge about, like, some financing things, because based on the ESG reporting, now you have to take a decision that whether you will fund this company or not. So that means you have to understand the finance. Okay.
So a few more questions. What is the average package for ESG reporters and potential growth of the ESG career?
No, so there are, of course, like, the potential growth is, like, very sharp. As I said that, like, there are a lot of sectors is there, like, I mean, so you have this entry level, they have the mid level, and then you have this experienced ESG professional. Okay, so in India, like, an experienced ESG professional can earns to, like, almost 40 to 50 lakhs, like, per year, like, a standard ESG professionals. And the international market, it goes to much higher, like, it is 19,000 to like, 1 lakh pound per year, like, on average. Like, this is the number this is the number I am getting from the students whom I taught, like, who have joined different companies, and as they have sent me the email, as they are in contact with me in WhatsApp, that's what they told me. And as I also associated with IIT Roorkee for a long time, there are a lot of companies visit us. They are hiring people from here. So I know that what types of packages they provide. So the growth is very much, and the market, the interesting thing is that there's a huge demand of the people who are expert in this field, but the supply is very, very negligible. Usually we don't find, companies don't find people who are, like, good in making a good ESG reporter, a good ESG reporting. So that is the problems. So supply demand ratio is still, like, is there. And as long as the, like, you will have more demand than supply, the growth of the industry will always be there.
सर बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग सा सवाल फिर से सौरभ जी पूछ रहे हैं कि आई एम कंफ्यूज, शुड आई नो ईएसजी एनालिसिस बिफोर गोइंग फॉर ईएसजी रिपोर्टिंग?
I think, yeah, I have already questions, right? I mean,
Correct.
so this is this. See, I already told that there is a only like, if you wanted to understand the ESG analysis, you have to understand the ESG reportings. Okay, so now when you will learn it, that is up to you. So there, I mean, there is nothing. And so if you have understood it correctly, like, ESG analysis means, like, that to interpret the ESG reporting data and to communicate to your boss that, okay, Tika, this reporting is good, and probably we can go ahead for the financing. So now, if you don't understand and interpret the data, then how you can report to your boss? So by default, you need to know an ESG reporting.
Tanvi, you want to ask something else?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll take it as a last questions. Okay.
Sir, I wanted to know more timing. I wanted to know the timings of the course that will be conducted.
So yes, it's on weekends, Saturday, Sunday classes, and starting from 4th April onwards.
Okay, and timing for that will be decided, like disclosed later along.
No, timing is
How is it?
already on website. So yeah, so
Okay.
Saturdays morning 10:30 a.m. to 12 noon, and Sunday evening 4 to 5:30, and all recording session will be available after the class.
Okay, and exam will be conducted for that.
A very good question, sir. I think you can guide us how you are going to, judge
We usually
students.
don't have the exam, because, see, I mean, the purpose is to, like, is to train you on this thing. We have homework assignments. Okay. So some marks is given based on the homework assignments, and at the end, like, during the immersion programs, there are, like, capstone project. So the evaluation is mostly based on the assignments and the capstone project.
Okay.
So I want to just add that this course is provided by eAsia Academy. We are the EdTech partner of IIT Roorkee. And currently, yes, there is some discounts offers going on. So our counselor, will connect with you further after the webinar. And our classes, currently registrations are going on. So you can choose, you can select us. And not only this, eAsia Academy also launching eAsia Jobs. So we are also assisting you in a green jobs sector. So looking forward, all of you. I mean, if we can become, come together and for the batch.
Yeah,
So do you want
I just wanted to take Punitji one last question from, I can see that in the chat box just now I saw that there's a question from Abhinji that how ESG and sustainability reforms banks. See, ESG and sustainability is inevitably connected with the banking sector. And if you are working in a banking industry, like, as you said that, like, it is very, very important, like, not only to understand the finance part, but the social part and the governance part of the banking sector, one must know on these things. So we have a lot of people who comes from the banking sector with this ESG and sustainability, like, in the course, and they have got benefited, like, in these courses, like, right after taking these courses. Thank you.
And I also want to add, sir, during the course, it become like a one family. This one batch is become like a family. So from different sector, different candidates will join, and we can share knowledge with each other. So thank you again. Thank you very much for your time, and definitely our team will, connect further with you, each of you. And if you want to take the advantage of discounts, and we have easy installment options also. So looking forward to all of you. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and the all knowledge. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Punitji, all the members of EAC Academy, and thank you very much to all the participants who are here. And I look forward to, like, to hear from you to make a very vibrant community, a sustainable community, as I said. Thank you.